Long time no chat. Now that it's slow and we're in the summer months without a million games to cover and with no conference realignment, hee hee, I want to welcome you all into another edition of Crimson Corner. I, of course, am your host, Michelle Bodkin, Utah Utes insider for KSL Sports. Obviously, as previously alluded to, it's been a while since I posted a podcast. This summer, I hope to bring you all a lot of great stories and interesting conversations that are sometimes tough to get to in season. That starts today with bringing on a previous guest, former University of Utah punter Hank Mondaca, who heads a charity called Athletes for Life that is bringing the joy of sports to the Ute Reservation with the help of other former and now current University of Utah athletes. I also have with me Drew Watkins, who is the Director of Development for the Crimson Collective. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you. Excited to be here.
Before I dive into our conversation, I do want to encourage anyone who is listening to go back, if you haven't already, and check out the last episode of Crimson Corner I did back in October that featured one of the Ute Tribe's leaders in Cameron Kutch. He's been instrumental in relations with the University of Utah and the tribe, as well as what Hank is doing with Athletes for Life, and is a great primer for the conversation ahead. Now, with that said, let's dive right in. So first things first, I would like to talk to Drew specifically about the Crimson Collective, which is about a year into its official launch. How has year one gone for you guys?
Yeah, it's been incredible. A lot of ups, a lot of downs. With the the changing of the landscape of college football and college sports, but it's been an incredible journey so far, and we're looking to continue to grow and help out the student athletes here at the University of Utah.
Following up with that, I know you all had a goal of, I believe it was $6 million before last December. Did you hit that goal? And then what are the new goals heading into year two?
Yeah, so that's the goal for this year, and that's specifically for football. We have a broader goal for all other sports. But yeah, that's our goal by the end of the year. And with the recent changes, with collectives potentially moving up to the universities, that goal is going to get much bigger. And so we're all hands on deck right now and doing everything we can to get there.
Obviously, and you kind of actually alluded to this, there's a lot going on and changing with college sports, NIL, collectives. How do you see the Crimson Collective fitting into where it looks like things are heading currently?
Yeah, and that's still up in the air. We had a lot of forecasting going on down here, but likely collectives will move to the universities. But there's going to be third parties involved in one way or another. And so the GARF team down here with the collective is already brainstorming on what we could do next and how to help transition the collective back to the university.
Now, a big objective for the Crimson Collective when it launched was doing things the Utah way. Some collectives are, giving out money, no questions asked. It's a little bit different here. There's a component that student athletes have to complete community service and outreach in order to receive NIL from you guys. You've partnered with a lot of great causes over the last year, from Sammy's Buddies to just simply sending athletes out to the local elementary schools. And now kind of the reason why we're all here today, you're adding Athletes for Life. What does it mean for the collective to be involved with a charity that will give student athletes an opportunity to be around the Ute Tribe, who they ultimately end up representing on Saturdays during competition?
Yeah, it means a lot. And that's what I love about, the collective doing things the Utah way. We're involved with so many great charities and organizations and people day in and day out. We hosted a golf tournament the other day, and we had a fun fact sign there, and it said we provided over 1,700 hours of community service since the collective started. So amazing things happening. And yeah, Sammy's Buddies. We were at an event with Make-A-Wish, and really cool to see the student athletes interact with the kids and especially with the Ute Tribe. That's who we represent. the university's proud and the collective is very proud. And so it's been really cool to see the student athletes step up to the plate and uh, be a part of it all.
Now, Hank, this is year 2 for Athletes for Life, at least this version of Athletes for Life that is working directly with the Ute Tribe, which I know was important to you as a former Utah player. That was always something you wanted to do when you initially got involved with this program. You know, what's happening, what's going on, what changes can we expect to see in year 2 of this program?
Well, we had a fantastic camp last year. The involvement of the U, the tribe, and Union High School was tremendous. Our coaching staff is comprised of ex-Utah coaches and former Ute players. And, we've been asked a lot since then, hey, we want to help, we want to give, we want to contribute. We see what you guys have started and we think we can make it better. This affiliation with Crimson Collective is gigantic for us, and we appreciate you guys coming on. And I think it's a wonderful fit. The story has kind of always been, Utah has a tremendous opportunity because of the fact that we have a live, living mascot, and we are playing for something that's very tangible. And now for those athletes to be able to touch, feel, and talk and to interact with the Ute Tribe is something that not a lot of schools can do. So we're privileged to have you guys on board, and thank you.
Absolutely. We're excited. I know we're still figuring out the logistics and, helping with this football camp coming up, but we're talking about busing up the entire, football team, and the players are super pumped about it. So
that's awesome. The look that they're going to get from these kids is going to be one that these kids will never forget. And I'm sure it has the same to do with a lot of the charities that you guys are involved with. And I think you guys are doing some wonderful things. This one hits home just a little bit harder and a little bit to the core. And it's going to be tremendous. And I can't wait for you guys to experience it.
Yeah, we're excited.
That's great. Michelle, you know all about it. You were a big part of it last year and you helped us out. How do you feel towards this? How do you see this this year 2 transition?
Well, I mean, now that you've turned the tables on me and are interviewing me on my own podcast.
Well, you know what, Drew? She's a big part of our team, and she's contributed a lot of ideas and creative, and so she should be a part of it.
Yeah, I've heard she's the brains of the organization. So,
yeah, I hate to admit it, but we're on podcast, so yeah, I can. Yeah, okay.
I mean, for me, it was always something that interested me from the time that I interviewed you in 2020 when you were going up to South Dakota and dealing with Pine Ridge. I just found that story so compelling and so interesting. And I've often talked about these kids that grow up on reservations. They're forgotten. We think about every other minority except for the people that actually originated from here. And quite frankly, most of us are living in borrowed space. And I think it's just so important to acknowledge that and be a little better in just being inclusive and making sure that, everybody's living together in harmony. I know that sounds so kumbaya, but I think it's true though. And you can kind of see it in the reactions that these kids, these people have. Last year, Athletes for Life was operating with a lot of people that maybe if you're not of a certain age, you're not going to necessarily remember them. And it still was impactful. It still meant a lot to them. To have someone like Dave Colity rolling up with his Super Bowl ring, that's not something that those people get to see very often. Or that rolls through, the Roosevelt Duchesne area very often. A guy that was able to play at that level. Same thing with Jackson Barton. So I think it already had a tremendous impact, and now you're adding in people that these kids, these these people that live there are maybe currently watching and currently interested in and currently following. And I remember one specific conversation that you and I had up there last year was you guys need to get involved with the Crimson Collective, which had just barely launched a couple months before you guys held your camp. And the other thing was getting Teo Johnson involved, because he has a little bit of a connection there, being part Paiute and Arapaho. And I think we've checked some boxes off in year 2, and I'm so excited to see how that's going to work out. And I'm even more excited about how things are going to work out and maybe what the reaction is going to be with someone like Teo, simply because we got to watch what was happening with Alyssa Peely, and it was impactful. The lines out the door to see her just proves that seeing a little bit of yourself doing something great has a major impact, and it moves the needle.
Absolutely. Drew, part of our cause is to get these kids on the reservation out for athletics. There's 2 schools there that border the reservation. One is Uinta, the other one is Union. And we want to get these kids involved with the high schoolers, the football team at Union. And last year, those guys did a tremendous job taking these kids under their wings, encouraging them. And we're hoping you see a lot more of that. But with these players coming in, they can be a true liaison to give the youth there on the reservation some aspirations, some hope, some dreams to follow throughout the year. You know, hey, I met that guy. Hey, look, he signed my shirt after the camp. Hey, it's a small little thing, but to them it's going to be huge. And I think that's a big step in our goal on trying to get these kids interested in coming out for sports, boys and girls, and hopefully we can maneuver ourselves into other sports based on this foundation that we've started.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And I still have all my signed gear from when I was young and playing, and some of it's still up on my wall, so in my office. So I never forget those moments, and it could really motivate and change some lives. So
yeah, well, we're proud you guys are going to be a part of it. We can't wait for you guys to experience what we've already experienced, and I'm getting chills just thinking about it. I can't wait to get back there, because it is special. You know, when you wear that drum and feather on your helmet, it means something when you played. And, some 34 odd years later, it still means something. And to see the faces on these kids and for what I anticipate they will be expecting, there's nothing like it.
yeah.
Now, Hank, obviously we've touched on year 2. There's going to be current players coming up this go around. And of course we kind of dropped the announcement. Teo Johnson is in. Teo wants to be a part of that. What else is different for Athletes for Life in year 2? What other things have you been working on in order to maybe make it run smoother, make it bigger, include more people? What have you been up to in the last year since camp wrapped up?
Well, since camp wrapped up last year, we've become official. We have our 501 number, which means we can now go after some significant participation and be able to give back to the kids, the school scholarships. We're trying to work with the university, would be our next step into securing some scholarships for these kids to give them high school as a starting ground. Hopefully athletics to bring all that athletics brings to a well-rounded person, and to give these kids on the reservation more opportunity. And so we're excited on where that's going to take us, and hopefully Crimson Club will be along for the ride, and we can share in those little gains that we're going to make along the way.
I think another interesting aspect of what you've been doing is trying to get some of these kids out to the Ute Proud game. A lot of their parents or maybe siblings come and dance in that, but getting more of the like younger kids that maybe aren't necessarily participating in the halftime show to be able to come out and just see how it all works together. What have you done in order to kind of grow that aspect of what you're doing?
Well, for the last 2 years, we've been able to get some tickets donated through Sean Farrell there at the university to give directly to the community, because it is a community camp and a fair. And we've had them come out in groves. And last year we had a participant from the reservation in our camp who danced in the Ute Proud halftime show. Actually, there was three of them. There was three of them.
Oh, there's three of them.
And right, and the youngins, and it was awesome. You know, to go there and see those kids on the field is one thing, but to see them do their thing, man, there's nothing like it. When you read that flag that says "You Proud," it gives it a whole different meaning, and it's pretty dang cool. We've done that. We've had a couple of jacket drives or winter apparel drives here locally to contribute to whoever needs them or whoever can give. But we're just trying to create awareness, you know, to give people an idea of what we're up to and why we're doing what we're doing. And like I said, we've had a lot of ex-players and former Utes just want to give and want to participate. Unfortunately, you know, we don't have room for them all. We'd love to have them all out. It's going to be a crowded place, but you know, we're really excited to get these current players out. Let them experience this. I know that they have a speaker come out every year to talk about the Utes and talk about what a little bit about the tribe, and that's been really cool. But to experience something like this, it's going to kick it up a whole lot. And the idea is to create an interest where the players do want to come. They want to fight for the position to come, and you know, shoot, we'd happy if they were all able to make it. So let's shoot for that, Drew. Let's get the whole team out in a couple droves.
Yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal.
That would be cool. And again, I can't explain it. You guys just need to go through it. I mean, Michelle, you can attest to that.
Yeah, it's one thing, I think, to meet people in your comfort zone. It's another to enter their world and see things the way they live. And for the record, like the Ute Tribe actually is doing quite well. They have more opportunities than a lot of reservations do. Pine Ridge is a completely opposite situation from what happens up at the Ute Tribe. But even so, you kind of get put into a little corner that's maybe a little out of sight, out of mind. And I think sometimes you limit yourself. And so again, to be able to bring these high level athletes up to them and get them on their level and in their world, I think is a huge deal, and it's special. It was special for me. I'm not an athlete. I just write about them, but it was just very special to share in that. And the fact of the matter is, like, a lot of the kids and the parents that we came into contact with have talked to, I mean, they've continued to talk to me throughout the year. I know they've definitely been talking to you, Hank. So it's just another opportunity, I think, to build special relationships and grow the brand at a time that it's actually pretty important, I think, to really grow the brand, because things are rapidly changing and we don't know how all that's going to land and play out.
The intriguing part too is to see how the current players are going to react. What kind of pride that brings them, what kind of motivation can spark or even start something within the players individually. It's going to be really interesting to see.
I agree. I absolutely agree. I think another special component that you brought to this, Hank, is bringing on Ronnie Mack. And we all know what a big heart that guy has. In the lead up to camp, and I don't know if it just worked out that way or if you kind of planned it that way, but obviously Ronnie Mack's having his annual get together for the Ron McBride Foundation, but he's also doing something special for your camp too, which is the following week. So explain that.
Mac Daddy's the best. You know, he was our offensive line coach back in the day, And he's done a lot of great things for a lot of people, and he's continuing to do so. And last year we were talking about how to get them involved, or how we can become involved in theirs, or make it a win-win situation. And the queen was there, Vicky, the better half. And she says, Hank, she just came right out and says, Hank, what do you need? And I says, we were thinking about being able to outfit the youth on the res with cleats. They were out there last year running around in Nike high tops, and
Yeah.
they just weren't quite helping. And she
Right.
says, we want to give, we want to help you. And so that's when they stepped up and they donated to purchase cleats for the youth on the reservation. Obviously Union doesn't need it. They're supplied with their cleats, but yeah, it's going to be very special, and we hope to continue the relationship with them. And yeah, he has that fundraiser a week before our camp. It just happens to be that same week that we have found to be optimal for our camp up there. And it's going to be a wild time. I mean, he always does a great job with his get-togethers, as he calls them. But that concert's going to be pretty cool the next day as well.
Yeah.
Drew, are you going to attend any of those?
I'm gonna have to.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds like a party.
Yeah.
It is. And that's putting it lightheartedly too. Yeah, they don't they know how to do it right. And we will always be indebted to Mac Daddy and Vicky, because they don't make them like that anymore.
Yeah.
No.
Yes, a time will definitely be had through that week. Hank, go ahead and explain what is the time schedule for this camp, and how is it going to kind of run? What's going to happen on the days that everybody's up there?
We're going to be having a 2-day camp, June 26th and 27th. The camp itself runs from 10 till 2, tentatively. That might change, because we've usually had a camp ending barbecue.
Mhm.
And the Kafusi clan out there does a great job with Delsco Northwest as a sponsor. They bring out their Ute wagon. They grill up some burgers and dogs and like no other. They do a fantastic job. But we're going to have 2 days of players coming out. So they stepped up and they says, we can do the barbecue both days. We wanted to feed, I know, we wanted to feed the kids and the players both days. We felt that we can at least do that. And, we talked about pizza and for the first day, but no, they stepped up and they're going to do it both days. And Drew, I mean, yeah, it's not a regular barbecue. They know how to do it, and they do it right. And we appreciate them doing it for us both days. And it's going to be from 10 to 2. We're going to give the players an opportunity before both camps to tell a little bit of who they are, where they came from, give the kids a little insight of who they are. And they're going to be wearing red. We're going to outfit them with some camp shirts. So they'll be identified visually by a red shirt. Coaches will be in white and the players will be in gray. And we're going to do that both days on the 27th as well. And that's it. At the end of camp, we'll get together and we'll let the players talk freely with the participants from the camp. That's where the bonding starts. That's where the shirts are signed, and that's where the kids look at these kids. They look at the players in awe, and they'll gravitate towards their favorites, depending on what interactions were done on the grass or the field that day. And that's going to be a huge part of this whole camp. And I don't know who's going to be covering it, but Michelle, you'll have your phone, and I think you'll be posting throughout, and we'll have a couple of people doing that. Crimson Collective hopefully will be helping out with that, and the players as well. Did I miss anything?
No, I think you pretty well covered it.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I greatly appreciate you both taking some time out of your day to kind of talk about your respective things that you're doing and how it's coming together and working together towards, I think, making something that was already really great even better. Drew, for fans that are not yet involved with the collective, how and where do they do that? Because obviously it sounds like you guys have some big goals ahead and would love all the help you can get.
Yeah, and we could use all the help we could get. So appreciate you bringing that up. Yeah, there's really kind of four buckets that the collective really is focusing on, and that changes depending on what's going on with the NCAA. But corporate sponsors is a big one. Companies can get involved and have the players be involved with their companies, whether it's commercial or social media marketing, or visiting their employees and families. Another one is just philanthropic dollars. You could donate to the collective, and that goes straight to the players. We also have monthly subscriptions for the casual fans to get involved. And the last one is events, and we're going to be hosting so many events in the next 2 years. So we have a concert coming up in September with Logic and Lil Tecca, and we're pretty excited about that. We have a Jordanelle event in July where we rented out the Lake of Jordanelle. We're having a professional wakeboarding group come in, and so we're expecting a ton of people there. Of course, we have like Fan Fest and a sports bash down at the Southtown Expo Center. At least that's the old name. I can't remember what it's named now. It's kind of like Delta Center, right? Delta Center's always been the Delta Center. So, but yeah, we'd love for fans to get involved. It's a great way to, share with the cause, and then the players will in return, do these charitable hours and help the economy and the organizations and charities in Salt Lake City.
Love it. And then Hank, you as well, obviously, to put something on like this requires help and donations. And, what do you guys still need, and where can people go to maybe help out if they're interested?
We also are looking for corporate sponsors, and we'll be making that more apparent after this camp. But for private donors, you can go to athletes4.life, athletes4.life, and contribute what you can. Everything is going towards the kids in the camp, and we'd appreciate all the help we can get. We've already appreciate, Michelle, your involvement, and Drew, now your involvement. Can't wait for this thing to happen and be covered and get this word out. And long live the drum and feather.
That's right.
That's a whole
Amen.
nother topic for another platform.
Well, I mean, again, go listen to my interview with Cameron Kutch. We dove into that. And he had some interesting things to say about that. And absolutely listen to this, get involved with this. It's another, I think, just great effort. And it's so, I think, encapsulates what it means to be a Ute and to be Ute proud, whether it's because you cheer for the team or you play for the team or you're a member of the tribe. It's
Absolutely.
just a very, very special thing.
Cameron Kutch is on our advisory board, and he does some tremendous things, and he's got some big lofty goals. So we're going to try and help him out with that. Yeah, it's a great interview.
Yes, absolutely. Well, that will do it for me and this episode of the Crimson Corner. Thank you again to Drew Watson and Hank Mondaca for jumping on with me and getting this thing started right for the summer. And as always, go Utes.
Go Utes.
You.